Appreciate that awesome intro. I only have one slide, so. Just want to thank the Tech Vancouver folks for putting on another awesome event. Let's give them a round of applause. Bringing the community together. Yeah, I was going to put in a slide deck together, but I thought I'd just kind of share a few battle stories from the last few years that have contributed to a few gray hairs and talk about kind of how we've MacGyvered our way to building a tech company with very little technical skills of our own. So Riipen actually started as, ironically, for those who don't know, we're a web platform that enables post-secondary schools to provide project-based experiential learning at scale to all of their students. So instead of students doing projects and assignments that actually have real-world applications on a case or something theoretical out of a textbook, we actually bring in real organizations to partner and participate in those projects. So ironically enough, we started as a class project. And we came up with this idea, and we won a business pitch competition. We won $10,000 to go out and build it. Coming out of UVic a few years ago, we thought, like, wow, we're rich. Like, let's go do this. We knew it had to be an online type of company. So we went out. We're like, oh, we have $10,000. Let's go build this billion-dollar platform right now. Wasn't the case. We hired a few consultants, a couple agencies, a couple part-time contractor work. And after a few weeks, we had a landing page, a couple designs, and we're actually $3,000 in debt. So what we did was we went out and kind of just networked with tech communities, went into computer science classes, pitched our idea. We found two rock star full-stack developers and back-end developers who actually built all of the platform that you would see today. And we launched the company on December 2013, so we're almost 3. And basically, our original model was, hey, let's connect companies to students with projects, with challenges that students can do, and it'll be great. They'll get hired. It'll revolutionize the whole HR recruiting system. Problem is, that didn't really happen as planned. It didn't turn into LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook or anything like that, even though we had a really solid product. Like, the product was way ahead of the business for the first year and a half by far. And essentially what happened was we were all working other jobs coming out of school, so we were all stressed out we weren't getting the traction that we needed, and we were always blaming, oh, if the product only did this, if we only had this feature, if only the UX did that, everything would solve our problem. And eventually it got to the point where it's like, okay, we're all just being entrepreneurs at that point in time, and if we don't go full-time and just dive into it, nothing's going to happen. We're wasting our time. So Richard, our CEO, and I were like, okay, let's hold a board meeting, and this was January of 2015. Let's hold a board meeting. We'll set the new tone, new direction. We're all quitting our jobs. It's going to happen. We rented the boardroom out at Grouse Mountain for like $900. We had no money, all on the credit card. And we're like, whatever, like, screw it. We're going to this is the new direction we want to go in. We brought in our developers who were in Victoria. They took the ferry over. They told their boss they were going to quit because they were doing part-time dev work in an agency in Victoria. And as they were on the ferry, they got a phone call from their boss, and basically they're like, where the hell are you guys? You're supposed to be at work. And they're like, oh, we're on the ferry. We're going over to Vancouver for a Riipen board meeting. You stay right there. He buses up from down, or just busted, not bust, but took off, got to the ferry in like 20 minutes, got on the ferry, actually bought a ticket, got on the ferry, took him into the Pacific buffet, so he knew he meant business, and basically offered him both of them, Jordan and Braden, 6-figure salaries, stock option equity, but they had to sever all ties from Riipen. Couldn't do any part-time contract or anything. So we get into the boardroom at Grouse Mountain. It's awesome. Nice sunny day, and we start working for about 4 hours, 5 hours, doing all these new plans and goals and setting out our new strategy now that we're all quitting and going full-time. It was great. We were so stoked. And I was leading the next session after lunch about, okay, guys, commitment level, when are we all quitting? And Braden, who was the CTO at the time, just said, I got to stop you right there. Jordan and I took other jobs on our way over here. We're leaving Riipen. Fuck! So it was pretty demoralizing, obviously. There was another person on the team at the time, and he decided to leave at that point. So we went from 6 to 3. Richard, Dana, and I went to the bar that night and just were like, what the hell are we going to do? We don't have a tech team. We had traction, but nothing really that significant. No real proven revenue stream, no investors. And what we decided was we still really believed in what we were doing. So maybe that's a blessing in disguise. Maybe we can just focus on the actual building a business around the platform instead of building a platform and hoping a business comes out of that. So that's what we did. We moved to Toronto with absolutely no money. We quit our jobs, and we just started talking to as many people, kind of following up on what was just mentioned, as many people as possible. Anyone who would listen to us, deans, professors, career center, CEOs, small business owners, students, obviously. And we started to learn that there's a huge need, and experiential learning is a massive movement right now that every school across the world is being pressured to adopt. But it's not that simple. There's industry projects going on in pockets everywhere, but it's a lot of work for professors to actually source and find those companies. So we had a platform that had companies that was interested in engaging with students. So basically, we said, okay, yeah, well, we have that platform that can fill your experiential learning needs. We pitched our first dean. It was at Schulich School of Business, Ryerson University in Toronto. He loved it. He's like, how much does it cost? We said $20,000. We just made it up. And he's like, well, if it's $10,000, which is under my RFP budget, I can just cut you the check right now and we can get started. Sure. Like, yeah. Let's do it. And basically, we knew from earlier that 10 grand doesn't really get you that far when building a business. So we went out and did that 4 or 5 more times and basically realized, okay, we've sold this product. We got 5 or 6 paying clients. They're expecting a certain type of product that we didn't have for September. So we figured out a way to bring in guys that could build what we needed on a short-term kind of Band-Aid situation. And the rest of it, we MacGyvered. A term we use in Riipen, one of our core values is ingenuity. And because we had to MacGyver a lot of shit, and when we say MacGyver, we mean like make something out of nothing and just figure something out. So we used Google Sheets, we used sign-up forms, we used any third-party tool that had functionality that didn't require you to code or build anything, but still could serve a value. Is anyone here from Unbounce? Oh, no one, really. Guess that counts. Anyway, Unbounce is awesome. For those of you who don't know what it is, it allows people that don't know how to do any coding to build really nice websites that look like real websites and work pretty well, like really well, but you don't have to code at all. It's for marketers and people like us. And basically, we just started using Unbounce saved Riipen. I'll put that on the record right now. We're still using it today, and we have all these project pages, and we used it to serve our paying clients, and they loved it. They're just like, wow, this is fantastic. It looked exactly like Riipen. Like, everything looked good UX, good design. All that stuff looked great, but it wasn't Riipen. It was Unbounce. We had to do a lot of manual kind of data entry and back-end kind of like those first people working the old computers back in the 70s or 60s where they're pulling all the chutes to make it run. That's what we were doing in the back end to make Riipen look like it was running. And we did that for the last year or so, and it worked really well. We have over 50 paying school clients now across North America. We raised money on it, and we've hired a team to actually help us build the next version of Riipen, which is under development right now. But the key lesson here and the takeaway is that we did that without spending any money, just time, but like no actual cash and development went into building all of these weird things that we didn't even know if somebody wanted. So if you can do that, with that, whatever your startup is or your business is, if you can build these kind of things that can get feedback and get value from, and if there's a positive response, you can be like, oh, wow, maybe now that we're investing a lot of money into building the next version, we know what not to build, what's useless, and what to actually bring into that roadmap. So proud to say today we actually have a tech team. Chuck's in the room somewhere. He's 18 years at IBM and Apple. He's leading that. We actually just signed our original developer who quit. He took a pay cut to come back. He starts September 1. And yeah, we're pretty stoked. So hopefully this is helpful.
All right, so if we can get some questions for Dave, I think that there's a lot of learning there in terms of hustle and grind.
Yeah.
Great story. Thank you for sharing that. Really one question. What are the attitudes when you face all these problems? Going towards ups and downs, I might quit now, I might not quit, and let's keep the ball rolling. What are you thinking? What's your mindset?
So the question is, what are the attitudes like when you're kind of like going through those ups and downs, and should I quit? Should I keep going? Is that right? I mean, you have to believe in what you're doing. If you don't, then it's not ever going to work out. If you're just doing it for mundane reasons, then stop. Because no matter who you are, you're going to have those ups and downs. So it's just keeping that kind of like vision on the end goal. And like, we're not by any means there. We've gone through maybe life support. We're out of the incubator, but you just have to keep believing in what you're doing and just keep pushing, keep hustling. And we have a motto: if you're not hearing no enough, you're not bugging people enough. So I don't know. I don't know if that helps, but it's kind of how we. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Why did you decide to move to Toronto? Like, why was that once you quit your job?
A program, an opportunity came up. It's called Mars Impact 8. We got into, and we've been in a bunch. We're going to write a book. If Riipen fails, we're going to write a book on accelerators. We've been in like 5 or 6 of them all over. So we moved, but we use the accelerators, the networks that they provide, to grow business development, to do sales, to find professors. This program was tied in with all the universities in Toronto. So we're just like, yeah, let's go do that. We'll talk to we'll plug into that network and grow. And just because we lost half our team, we had a lot of not baggage, but we'd been trying a model that wasn't working that well in Vancouver for a year and a half. So it's just like, hey, let's just go to Toronto, fresh slate. No one knows who the hell we are. We'll just hustle. We still have a pretty awesome platform. Like, we figured out a way to show only the pieces of the platform that we wanted people to see, and people were like, "Wow, this is amazing!" Like, they thought it was great. So, and then we went to Boston and New York after that and did the same thing.
Kim, maybe you're next, but I think there was a question over here.
Did you have to deal with any hesitancy from clients seeing that it was third-party apps? Like, they'd pull out a nice unbounce button and land on a Google sheet. And how did you deal with that? Because I think it's cool that you build it, because I don't know code. It's really
Yeah. So hesitance. Sorry, repeat the question.
So how did you deal with any hesitancy from clients, being that you pitch this $10,000 thing that's amazing, and then they press a button in Google Sheets, what they might be able to do?
Customer service. Yeah, basically, they're all early adopters, professors that used to hate us. They're like, I'm never using you again, are re-signing up every semester because we iterate and show them a new version based on their feedback. So yeah, that's the... People are going to get pissed. People get pissed at us every day, but... Emily can relate to that.
Kim?
Sorry?
How far in advance do you think about your business? Is this a 6 months, 3 year, 50 years?
We take time to think about like 5 years down the road, 3 years down the road, 12 months down the road. Even 6 months down the road seems like pretty far in advance right now. But you need to kind of have that, you need to balance that with like your day-to-day hitting your like, what do you have to do like today to actually even have that possible?
Can I ask you a follow-up?
Sure.
So everything goes crazy well, ridiculous. What does 5 years look like for you?
let's talk about that after. Yeah.
How easy or hard is it to open a branch office in the US? Or two of them, actually.
Pretty good. We have U.S. investors, so that helped a lot. We've been in great programs. We're part of the CTA, Canadian Consulate. I forget, it's a long acronym, government acronym in Boston. But yeah, we're still like set up as a Canadian corporation and have a U.S. subsidiary that kind of, we have 4 employees in the U.S., so that's all done through that. But I don't know how to do that stuff. Like, we find other people who are good at it and they help us, so to be honest.
Did you have a backup plan for what kind of deal?
Backup plan? No, but I'd like to have one. No, honestly, it's just like, at the end of the day, if you work your ass off, you're gonna have a great experience. If you fail, you're still better off at the end. What I've learned in the last couple of years is, as far as it outweighs the risk of not doing it and fearing failing. So figure that out when it happens.
Hey, you mentioned a fair bit on how you dealt with educational institutions, but how are you dealing with students after graduation? Like, is there anything you discussed on that side, or is that part of your business model?
No, it's free for students right now. They have a portfolio on the platform, so every time, part of the commitments for when the companies sign up is they agreed to give skill ratings. So every project has skills tagged to it, where the companies agree to rate those skills. And if the students like that skill, that rating, they can add that to their public kind of like pre-LinkedIn type profile. Outside of that, like, our goal is every student gets a job with one of the companies they do a project for. So we'll see where it goes. Not really.
Great.
Yeah.
Can I help you off the stage?